Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Matt Morris. We are live right now on Rumble as well as on YouTube at Matt Morris TV, folks. Today, we have a whirlwind of a broadcast ahead of us. We have a lot to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, just a couple hours ago, we got a whole new, brand new list of record-setting FBI crime stats, FBI accomplishments. For the year of 2025, President Trump's FBI has been absolutely cooking, and we're going to see if they can keep it up. But 2025 was pretty much a record-shattering year in just about every single category imaginable. We're going to break that down. Also, numerous radically progressive blue states now actually owe the federal government billions of dollars collectively because they have now been caught as of a couple hours ago, using federal tax dollars to pay for the health care of illegal aliens. No surprise. And so now the federal government is saying, hey, you got to give that money back. We're going to break that dynamic down today as well. It also seems as if Alberta Canada wants to exit Canada and join the United States of America. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about that. It might seem as if the Trump administration might let them in. Maybe not letting them become a state, but at least some type of incorporated geographic area. We're going to break that down as well. Right now, the Democrats are getting absolutely ripped apart over this fake news story, about ICE agents abducting a 5-year-old child and then using this 5-year-old little Mexican kid as bait to try to lure out his illegal alien parents or whatever. This is getting debunked left and right. And now the Democrats, this has blown up in their face. We're going to break that down today. And then on top of all of that, Trump's DOJ has just issued a deadly promise to all of these far left saboteurs that have been actively causing chaos across our entire beloved country. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about today. There's a lot of news today. Like I said, this is going to be akin to a whirlwind of a show. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe if you have not already on Rumble as well as on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't we go ahead and talk about these new FBI stats that came out for the year of 2025. Take a look at this. Folks, everybody's been talking about this. In 2025, we saw a massive record-shattering 20% drop in nationwide murder and homicide rates. Massive, a 100% increase in violent crime arrests. 1,800 gangs and criminal enterprises had been disrupted. 2,000 kilos of fentanyl seized by the FBI. That's enough to kill 130 million Americans. That is a big deal, considering we were losing about 150, 200,000 Americans every single year to fentanyl overdoses during the Biden era. Big problem. We saw in 2025 a 490% increase in arrests tied to nihilistic violent extremism. When I hear that, I think of domestic terror attacks, potentially. We saw a 20% increase in arrests linked to the 764 network. I believe this is a network that is focused on children in a very criminal, disgusting, evil way. I believe that's what this is. Good. Whatever the hell that is, shut it down. Over 6,000 child victims located. 1,700 child predators arrested. 300 human traffickers arrested. 35% increase in espionage-related arrests. 40% increase in global extraditions or foreign transfers of custody. Criminals that have escaped to other countries, hey, bring them back. We want to criminally hold them accountable. 4 of the FBI's top 10 most wanted fugitives have been captured. That is equal to the previous 4 years combined. The Hoover building has been shut down. The FBI headquarters has now relocated, saving taxpayers nearly $5 billion a year. One hell of a year. Like I said, an absolutely record-shattering year. We got the data. I'm surprised this is not listed here. We now know this. In fact, Axios, left-wing media outlet, reported this yesterday. 2025 nationwide, check this out. It's going to blow your mind. 2025, Trump's first year back in the White House, was the single safest year in this country nationwide since 1900. 2025 was the safest year. Violent crime, burglary, all of it, assault, all of it. 2025 was the safest year in American history in 125 years. That is astounding. I don't think any of us could have predicted or even expected that level of success. Let's move on. Like I said, we've got a lot to talk about today, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, check this out. New Democrat scheme, new Democrat plan. Chuck Schumer, Senate Minority Leader, the senior ranking Democrat politician in the country right now, Chuck Schumer is currently orchestrating a shadow Democrat campaign in the 2026 Montana Senate race. They're going to be running a lifelong liberal, a guy named Seth Bodnar, as an independent. This guy is really a far left radical, a far left progressive. The Democrats are going to try to slip him in here as an independent to try to win the race and pull the wool over everyone's eyes in the state of Montana. Who here lives in Montana? Keep an eye out for this. This individual, Seth Bodnar, the independent, supports men in women's bathrooms. He was a special guest of Michelle Obama's, I believe on her podcast, perhaps. So he has some relation to the Obamas. The Democrat, here he is right here. There he is. The Democrats' plan is to oust Trump-endorsed Senator Steve Daines in Montana with Seth Bodnar, the president of the University of Montana. So currently president of University of Montana, which infamously allowed men in women's bathrooms and women's sports. Democrats are becoming so desperate that now they are having Democrats run as independent in states that they would normally lose. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know what's going on here? We're seeing something very similar to what they tried to pull in the 2024 presidential general election. They tried to do this with Tim Walz. What did they try to do? The Democrats realized that, I'll just be blunt, white people are not voting for them. White people are not voting for the Democrats, especially white men. White men don't want anything to do with this party. No way, no how. Even 54% of white women voted for Trump. 75 or 80% of white men voted for Trump. So white people, generally speaking, don't want anything to do with the Democrats. And I think the answer is kind of obvious why. And so what the Democrats are doing now, I kid you not, they are trying to pick DEI white men. It's like DEI, but for white men. They're saying, wait a minute, if we can find a radically progressive, dumbass white guy, we'll put him up on the ticket. We're going to try to run him downfield. Maybe we can we can deceive enough white people to vote for him, because otherwise they're not voting for us. This is why they picked Tim Walz. Hey, everybody, Tim Walz here. I'm a country white man just like you. I like football and drinking beer and going hunting. I go pheasant hunting out in the field. Nobody's buying it. It was all bullcrap. Nobody's buying this. And I guarantee you that is what they're doing. That is what they are doing here. They've realized they have lost the white vote. They're trying to do the same thing again with this guy. Now, I know, listen, hey, people in Montana are smart. Montana folks, is anybody here from Montana? Give me a 1 in the live audience. Listen, Montana people, they're not stupid. They're not dumb. They're not going to fall for this. They're not going to fall for this radical progressive. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing, this guy, backed by Chuck Schumer. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's going to try to, as Trump says, transgender for everybody. Transgender for everybody. That's what this guy wants. That's what Chuck Schumer wants. Nobody's going to fall for it. So anyway, listen, warning, alert, Montanans, keep an eye out. Beware. Now, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, The federal government under Trump's leadership is now trying to claw back billions of dollars from numerous radically progressive blue states, sanctuary states, namely predominantly California. Generally, we're talking about California, but numerous, in fact, because these states have been lying. They've been using federal funds to cover the healthcare costs of, guess, you guessed it, illegal aliens. The federal government now under Trump's leadership says, that is not allowed. In fact, not only is it not allowed, you got to pay us back. Now it's time to pay up. You got to pay back. You got to reimburse the federal taxpayers. California, New York, Illinois, Minnesota, my home state of Oregon, Washington, D.C., Colorado. Play the clip.
Battle brewing in California. The Trump administration says the state owes the federal government more than $1 billion for health care given to illegal immigrants. William Lajeunesse has the story from L.A. Hi, William.
Well, Dana, there are two stories here, right? One is how rising costs have forced blue states to roll back health care for those without legal status. The other is the White House crackdown on eligibility. If states can't confirm those getting care are U.S. citizens, they have to pay the feds back.
Pay it back.
We are auditing aggressively, and we don't like what we see.
In March, the Trump administration began auditing states that provide illegal immigrants with routine health care paid for by American taxpayers. Their findings? 7 states and the District of Columbia owe nearly $1.4 billion for using federal, not state money for immigrant care.
I'm sorry, pause, hold up. Look at this. California, top of the list. I mean, they are committing 95% of the crime here. Look at this, maybe more. Good Lord. California, $1.3 billion
for using federal, not state money for immigrant care. Topping the list, California, followed by New York and Illinois.
In California, we've already identified about $1.3 billion spent to take care of illegal immigrants.
Under the law, states can only use federal money for migrants' emergency care.
When you come for elective herding operations or dental cleaning, that's not going to be paid for by the federal taxpayer. It's not right.
No.
You don't want folks in one state paying for people in another state without them knowing about it and voting for it.
California says claims it did anything wrong are, quote, flatly false, saying the state routinely reimburses the feds.
Universal health care for all, regardless of pre-existing condition, regardless of the ability to pay, and regardless of your immigration status.
Well, I mean, he's just flaunting it. I don't know how you can even deny it, California, when your governor, the illustrious Gavin Newsom, he's just bragging about it.
After extending care to its entire undocumented population, rising costs forced California to impose premiums and stop accepting new patients. Other states facing rollbacks? Colorado, Illinois, and Minnesota, either cutting subsidies or dropping adults altogether.
It was cruelty dressed as fiscal responsibility. There is no other outcome for when you take away people's health care.
Yeah, thanks, libtard. Listen, if it was up to these people, listen, I would love it if if I could get a hold of a crystal ball, like I'm a wizard, Merlin. If I had a magic crystal ball, I could peer into it. I want to see, I don't want it in real life, but I just want to know, what would this country look like if the progressives, if the Democrats, if the far left actually got their way? I want to peer in the crystal ball and see what that looks like, because if it was up to them, there would be no border. Every single third world immigrant from who knows where would come flooding into this country. You thought 50 million's bad. How about 150 million? How about a billion? How about a billion immigrants from the third world, from all over Africa, Latin America, Middle East? Who knows? Bring them all in. This is what they want. And then once they're here, they're going to let them vote and they're going to subsidize their healthcare costs. How long do you think that would last? Like a week? A day? The country would implode. It would implode. This country would implode. This country would end up becoming Somalia 2.0. New Somalia is what this country would end up becoming. Now, ladies and gentlemen, actually, that's a perfect segue. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to this beautiful Somalian woman. Man, Somali women, they're just something else. Now, this individual came out today and made the claim that she was abused, she was beaten by an ICE agent. This clip is going viral. She came out and said, this ICE agent beat me right over the head. I've got a Band-Aid. That's probably why her head is so swollen. Or maybe not. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just always like that. Anyway, she came out here and what she said when she opened her mouth shocked the entire world because she talked about what it's like to be a Somali American. Take a listen.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's you know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean.
No, nobody understands what you mean. Lady, what the hell are you talking about? Lady, she started that off. That was a 46-second monologue about nothing about bananas and rice. Remember, she started that off by saying, listen, being a Somali American, it's more than just bananas and rice. And then she goes on to talk about bananas and rice. I think she mentions it 5 times. So anyway, here's a fun fact of the day. The average IQ in Somalia is 65. And I kid you not, I'm not saying that. I don't want to be deeply, genuinely, I do not mean to be discriminatory or bigoted. That is a scientific fact. Here's the thing about facts. They don't care about anybody's feelings. Now, as a little bit of a comparison here, the average, the IQ of an average white man in this country is 100. Average white American man, 100. Average Somali IQ is 65. They say that Coco the gorilla, anybody remember Coco the gorilla? She was doing puzzles. She was solving puzzles and poking dots on the screen. Genius. She was a genius. The smartest gorilla ever. Coco the gorilla. An inspiration, really, for all of us. Coco the gorilla had an IQ of 85. 85. Coco the gorilla had an IQ of 85. The average IQ in Somalia is 65. So that kind of explains the whole monologue about bananas and rice. Maybe the bananas and rice thing makes a little bit more sense now. Now, moving on, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about Canada. That's enough about Somalis. We're talking about Canada right now because Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, shared with us today while talking to Jack Posobiec, shared a very interesting tidbit while talking about Alberta, Canada. Take a listen.
With all the oil and the natural resources coming out of Canada, Texas still.
Oh, I apologize. There you go. Hold up. Sorry, you probably want to see the video. There you go, folks.
With all the oil and the natural resources coming out of Canada, Texas still larger.
Well, look, Alberta is a wealth of natural resources, but they won't let them build a pipeline to the Pacific. I think we should let them come down into the U.S., and Alberta is a natural partner for the U.S. They have great resources. The Albertans are very independent people. Rumor that they may have a referendum on whether they want to stay in Canada or not.
Sounds like you may know something up there.
Look, people are saying, people are talking. People are talking. People want sovereignty. They want what the U.S. has got.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we know, listen, we've been talking about an independence referendum here, a vote on whether or not they should secede, exit Canada. We've been talking about this in regards to Alberta, I don't know, probably 9-10 months. This has been a big conversation for a while now. These Albertans, they're not happy. I want to put some numbers on the table, put this into perspective here. Canada has right around 40 million people. California similarly has right around 40 million people. Maybe a decent way to look at Canada is it's sort of like one big, cold, frigid California. It is equally, maybe a little bit more left-wing, progressive than California. Canada is very progressive, generally speaking. Right about the same number of people, 40 million, something like that. The one outlier in all of Canada here is the Albertans. Alberta which is right in the middle, right about. Now, Alberta is also the wealthiest in regards to natural resources, natural gas, LNG, oil. Okay. Now, the problem is Alberta is also very conservative. It's wealthy, and Alberta is very conservative. In fact, whereas the rest of the nation is very progressive. In fact, I looked into this, right around 63% of voting Albertans are members of Canada's Conservative Party, which makes it, of course, the single most conservative province in the entire country. This makes Alberta, to kind of make an American comparison here, Alberta, if you look at the voting trends, is just about as conservative as Idaho, Arkansas, Kentucky, or Alabama. 63, 62% right-wing conservative voters in Alberta, right around 63% conservative voters in Idaho, Arkansas, Kentucky, Alabama. So, and by the way, these are some of our most conservative states. These 4 states I just mentioned, some of them, they're up there, they're top. And so Alberta really is genuinely very conservative. Now, I don't think that Trump or the Trump admin is ever going to try to give Alberta a statehood. But who knows? Maybe if Alberta secedes, maybe we'll work out some type of very beneficial economic deal. Who knows? Maybe Alberta ends up, I don't know, becoming type of like a U.S. protectorate, like Guam or U.S. Virgin Islands, or probably most notably Puerto Rico. We might end up having that type of dynamic with Alberta here in the next couple of years. Totally could be the case. Could be the case. Also, this is something we all know if you've been keeping tabs on this. Trump has a very good relationship with the current premier leader, like almost like governor of Alberta, a woman named Danielle Smith. This woman in the last 18 months that I'm aware of has flown down to Mar-a-Lago twice. The Albertan premier, Danielle Smith, has gone to Mar-a-Lago on 2 occasions to have private one-on-one meetings with Trump. What do you think they're talking about? What do you think they're talking about? And she herself is a little bit of a separatist. She herself seems to want Alberta to kind of separate out, because these Albertans, they're conservative. They're sick and tired of being under the boot and the thumb of Mark Carney's radically progressive government. They're sick of it, right? So these Albertans, they want out. Maybe Trump is working out some type of deal. I don't know. Trump is wheeling and dealing. We've seen him wheeling and dealing all over the world. Now, I mentioned California here. I want to show you folks something that is going to blow your mind as it pertains to California. Ladies and gentlemen, California has a gubernatorial election in less than a year, probably 10 months, 9-10 months. Well, take a look at this. Breaking news based on polling data from today. 2 Republicans are actually leading the California gubernatorial race. And that's important because only the top 2 candidates are allowed to make it to the general election. Now, of course, we are 9-10 months out. Things can change. In fact, election season hasn't even really ramped up yet, but I do want to share this with you folks right now. We've got here they are right here. 2 Republicans are leading the polls in California right now. A guy named Chad Bianco, 18%. Steve Hilton, 17%. And then you have Democrats, Katie Porter, 14%. Eric Swalwell, he's stepping out of Congress. He wants to go be a governor. Seems like nobody likes him, 11%. Tom Steyer, nobody's heard of you, 8%. Folks, can you imagine? And listen, you don't want to, we're not making any promises here, but it is a possibility. There is a non-zero chance here that the California state gubernatorial election, all these Californians, they've got to decide between 1, a Republican, and 2, another Republican. That actually is possible. Technically, that actually is possible. If the election was today, that is what would happen based on this polling data. Who knows? We have seen now over the last 8 years, California, believe it or not, is actually becoming increasingly red. Despite Proposition 50 passing and all the Republican conservative Californians losing all of their congressional House representation, which is egregious and probably going to get overturned, Trump has appealed that to the Supreme Court. Betting odds are right now 70% that does get overturned. But anyway, right now, listen, every single year, California is becoming redder. The voters, the voting trends, the party affiliation, California is becoming redder. It's undeniable. It actually is happening. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go ahead and talk about this narrative pertaining to this little 5-year-old Latin American boy. I said he was Mexican earlier. I actually don't think he's Mexican. He's a little boy from Latin America, little Latin American boy. Right now, the Democrat narrative is that ICE abducted this young Hispanic boy, 5 years old, abducted him when he was walking home from school. In fact, this is the narrative, at least. ICE then tried to use this 5-year-old boy as bait to lure out and entrap his illegal alien parents. That they were going to use this kid as bait, like they're going to tie him to a rope and dangle him out in front of the house, like some type of silly cartoon or something. But no, listen, that is not the case. This has been debunked, but still the Democrats are running with the narrative. They're doubling down, tripling, quadrupling, pentupling down. And so we're just fact checking over and over again. In fact, look at this right now. Kamala Harris, yesterday afternoon, here's that boy in question. Kamala Harris, even after the story had been debunked, Kamala Harris picked it up and decided to run with it. She said, Liam Ramos is just a baby. He should be at home with his family, not used as bait by ICE and held in a Texas detention center. I am outraged, and you should be too. And so here's the photo of this little boy out there in the cold being taken care of by ICE. Really, what happened, as we all know, ICE pulled up to this car. They were trying to go for the father of this boy. The boy was in the back of the car. ICE pulled up. The dad, illegal alien, dad who's an illegal alien, got out of the car and ran away. He ditched his own son. He abandoned his own son. And it's like, well, the dad booked it. The car's on. It's freezing temperatures. It's like 10 degrees outside. Dad is running away. So ICE was forced to take care of the kid temporarily. ICE said, all right, kid, we got to take care of you. You want some granola bars? You want a Capri Sun? You want Lunchables? So they took care of this kid, but Kamala Harris kept on pushing this lie. In fact, look at this. This has 203,000 likes, 5.2 million views. They are just lying. Now, DHS came out, issued a statement here. Take a listen.
And this is a horrific smear that we're seeing the mainstream media and politicians on the left, including Kamala Harris, take and run with. The facts are actually that this little boy was abandoned by his own father. His own father was being approached by ICE agents when he ran and abandoned the child. Our law enforcement, in these frigid temperatures, stayed with the child, tried to bring him into custody with the mother, who actually would not take the child into custody, which is so sad, so horrific. Our law enforcement officers, because she was illegal too, actually were taking care of the child, brought him to McDonald's, were playing his favorite music to really calm him down. This is Asmark. There's major riots forming around our law enforcement officers. That is horrendous that the child is having to face this, but our law enforcement officers were taking care of him, and he's now reunited with his father in a federal processing facility.
He is now reunited in a federal processing facility. Folks, the mother wouldn't even open up the door to get her own child back in custody. I wonder why. Yeah, I wonder why. The dad booked it. These people, they would rather ditch and abandon their own children. Absolutely insane. And now, by the way, ABC News ran a story on this the other day after it had been debunked, after everybody knew it had been debunked. ABC decided to run a propaganda story here. Take a listen to what they had to say.
The growing outrage in Minneapolis, the images of a 5-year-old boy returning home from preschool, detained by ICE. Agents taking the boy and his father into custody. Vice President J.D. Vance in Minneapolis today defending ICE agents, claiming they were protecting the child, saying, what are they supposed to do? Matt Rivers in Minneapolis again tonight.
Tonight, the haunting images sparking a firestorm. A preschool boy standing in the Minnesota cold, swept up in the ICE crackdown. School officials say 5-year-old Liam, wearing his blue hat and backpack, and his father, Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias, had just pulled into their suburban Minneapolis driveway Tuesday when agents took that father into custody. The school then saying an agent essentially used the 5-year-old as bait, directing him to see if anyone else was home before taking the boy away.
Oh my God.
The district saying Liam is among 4 students recently detained.
The growing out.
Well, listen, maybe you shouldn't abandon your kids with a bunch of ICE agents. And now, by the way, because of this fake news propaganda story, ABC is now facing calls to be sued after being caught blatantly lying that this 5-year-old boy was detained. So they might have a big old lawsuit. We know Trump and the Trump administration, they are a little bit litigious. They're not afraid of filing lawsuits. We've got some more information here. Take a look and take a listen. This is the dad, the deadbeat illegal alien dad.
Just obtained from DHS sources this internal photo of the father who was arrested and taken into custody. And this is who officials say abandoned his son when ICE agents came to arrest him inside that vehicle as they pulled up in this freezing cold temperatures. But those initial photos of this 5-year-old boy that was left alone outside went viral online, with school officials claiming that federal agents had arrested a preschool and were using him as bait. The DNC and Democratic lawmakers quickly piled on those initial claims, with Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar posting, "Don't tell us this is about the worst of the worst. That is a lie. Absolutely vile." And even when DHS tried to respond with what it says actually happened, Texas Congressman Joaquin Castro replied by calling the agency sick liars. And this video by Minnesota Congresswoman Angie Craig pushing that same narrative has now racked up nearly 1.5 million views.
All they do is peddle lies. The truth is of no concern to them.
So now ICE is using a 5-year-old boy. A 5-year-old boy. They took him and used him to lure his father out. And now they've detained them both.
Unbelievable.
Today, federal officials laid out its version of what actually happened, saying that the father abandoned the boy, and then when officers tried to go to the home and ask to get someone to take care of the child, that the people inside would not open those doors. Today, activists are calling for a statewide shutdown. So no work, no school, and no shopping, so that as many people as possible can get out in the streets to protest ICE.
Really?
Well, we've already had some dust-ups over at the Whipple Federal Building today, where ICE says a group of agitators showed up with a U-Haul filled with shields and riot gear to try and block agents from being able to come and go.
And for some reason, Palestine has something to do with this. Excellent. Of course, obligatorily.
Organizers say they are expecting a huge crowd to show up for a rally and a march here downtown this next hour.
Just astounding. We know the facts. This has been debunked and rebunked, then debunked again. Well, it never got rebunked. It's only been debunked. But still, they insist on peddling the lie.
Going to ask you where he is. So then the agents did reunite the child at his father's request, because the mother still wouldn't accept him into the house. Is that right?
That's correct. But Martha, I think something that's so important here.
That's correct. The mother would not accept her own 5-year-old child into the house when it's 10 degrees outside. This kid is going to get hypothermia. Nope, she wouldn't take him back.
Here, as we are hearing so much outrage from the media on really baseless facts. Where was the outrage the last 4 years when Kamala Harris and Joe Biden manufactured a humanitarian crisis not like any that this country has ever seen, where over 300,000 children were lost in the system, so many of which were human trafficked, were sex trafficked, were exploited and abused. And the Trump administration under President Trump and Secretary Noem has reunited 132,000 with their families or a safe guardian. That's what we need to be doing. We are finding all of these children and stopping this humanitarian crisis.
You know, here's a curious way to look at this. You know, every single one of these stories that the Democrats, the far left, they get all worked up about, they have a hysterical meltdown. Oh, Renee Good, She was randomly killed by a bloodthirsty ICE officer. Okay, that's not what happened. Fake news narrative. Oh, this 5-year-old boy was abducted on his way home from school, then used as bait to lure out and entrap his own parents. Okay, fake news narrative. That's not what happened. It really, all of these lies that they end up telling, it really, in a way, is testament to just how few transgressions the Trump administration or ICE really are engaging in. Like, the fact that they have to make stuff up means that really nothing bad is really happening. Nothing bad is really happening. Otherwise, they'd be talking about stuff that is actually happening and not making up a bunch of lies and spreading propaganda. But nothing bad is happening. They just have to keep on lying. They got to keep making it up. It really is insane. By the way, this little 5-year-old boy, God bless his soul, he's got bad luck in life. He got a pair of bad parents, deadbeat parents. This is the ICE detention facility that this kid was at for a couple hours. Take a look. This is where ICE kept this kid for a couple hours. They got computers, books, movies. They got a big old library. They've got professional caretakers. Table seems like a nice place. They're coloring. I kid you not. They got a basketball court. They're playing tennis or something. This is where they kept this kid. This is the facility. Oh, it's torture. Oh, it's torture. ICE is torturing these kids. Well, listen, first off, hey, if you don't want your kid to end up here, you shouldn't abandon them. You should not leave them out in 10-degree weather outside downtown Minneapolis, wherever the hell this happened. Now, in regards to all these illegal aliens, Steve Bannon today issued a very important reminder. Steve Bannon issued a very important reminder pertaining to all of the illegal aliens currently inside the country, old, young, whatever. Take a listen.
Here's what we care about. Biden allowed in here 12 million. President Trump says 25. Other people 15 or 20. I don't know what the final number is, but it's a grunch. And they're all going home. They're all going home. Remember, if you start to embody this like your task and purpose, it'll start to manifest itself.
Manifesting. Everyone, I love that he said that. Everyone, close your eyes, activate your imagination here. I am manifesting 50 million deportations. You know what? No, double it. I'm meditating, I'm manifesting. It's all about my chakras, my spirit energy is aligning. I am manifesting 100 million deportations right now. Trump, round them up, get them out of here. You got to manifest it. You're manifesting. Think about it. Think it, dream it, do it. Think it, dream it, do it. 100 million deportations. Think it, dream it, do it. Get them out of here. Manifest it. You're right. We need to start doing that. Get them out of here. Now, the Democrats earlier today, they tried to run with another fake news narrative. This whole story about this 5-year-old kid got debunked immediately. We all know it's bullcrap. The entire nation does. They've moved on from Renee. I mean, just in the last 2 weeks, they went from Renee Good to the 5-year-old boy. Now they got a new one because all their narratives keep on getting debunked. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this story that they tried to push today. They said, U.S. Army veteran detained by ICE for 8 hours says that he wasn't allowed to call an attorney. U.S. Army veteran detained. No attorney. 8 hours. Okay, well, we have a fact check here. This is from DHS. Official DHS fact check. They came out hot. They said, this individual was actually arrested for assaulting a law enforcement officer, which is a felony and a federal crime. All detainees do have the opportunity to communicate with their family and a lawyer. These smears from the media have directly led to a 1,347% increase in assaults on DHS law enforcement and an 8,000% uptick in violent death threats. So this guy, no, this wasn't some innocent dude. He assaulted a law enforcement officer. It's a federal crime. It's a felony. Thank you, DHS, for the official fact check. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've got some good news. I'm sorry, no, I've got some bad news, and then I've got some good news. First, the bad news, then the good news. Remember these two silly billies? They were part of this Sunday morning church raid 5.5 days ago. They were arrested 3 days ago. Well, bad news. Outrage is erupting after a leftist Biden-appointed judge releases two of the Minnesota church stormers, Nikema Levy Armstrong and Chantil Allen. Wait a minute, there was a third one. It was the white guy, whatever that guy's name was. Wait a minute. Hey. I noticed my sisters, my BBW sisters are getting released. What about my brother? What about my fellow white man? Is he not good enough to benefit from far left, radical, progressive hijacking of the federal judiciary? No, he's going to rot in prison. We're only releasing my sisters. What is going on here? The white guy, his ass is still in prison. Okay. Anyway, this is the judge here. That decided to let them out. A Biden-era judge. We say, impeach this judge. You should not be able to terrorize women and children in a church and be let out, or anyone for that matter, or anyone. Now, that being said, slight little hitch in the plan here. However, Associate Attorney General Harmeet Dillon spoke to Megyn Kelly earlier today, adding some context here pertaining to Don Lemon and the rest of these far-left agitators. Take a listen.
So, are we going to do it?
Well, we are going to do it because that's what is required for justice here. And from Sunday, when I first saw the video that Don Lemon himself put out about his conduct that day, it was clear to me that we had the predicates for pursuing FACE Act and conspiracy. We did our homework, sent prosecutors there to the ground, took affidavits, took evidence. They buttressed the case that we could witness from Lemon's own testimony and statements and admissions against interest in his own videos. And we have aggressively and very rapidly sought legal process. Now, I will say it's been a little frustrating because for 48 hours between the time that we sought these arrest warrants and the time that we were able to make arrests and say what the judge did in refusing to sign off on Lemon's, it had to stay silent. We have certain protocols here at the Department of Justice, but he is not out of legal jeopardy, and he has lawyered up. He has a prominent lawyer, and we're going to pursue this to the ends of the earth.
The ends of the earth. Trump's DOJ, they are going to be pursuing this till the ends of the earth, and that's Don Lemon and also these other individuals. Now, by the way, listen, we talked about this earlier this morning. Go back and watch my video today talking about pink slips. We got a big problem. Now, the way to navigate around this problem now, where you have all these judges and attorneys in Minnesota State, all these blue states that refuse to do their job because they are radically progressive ideologues. They refuse to bring charges or convict or even keep these people detained. They're letting them back out on the street. There's a way around that. We can totally remove these Minnesota State activist judges, like we're seeing time and time again here in this situation, by taking this evidence here. And there's a lot of evidence of what they did inside that church. It's all on video, courtesy of Don Lemon. Thanks, buddy. We're going to put that in front of a federal grand jury. Okay? That's a way to supersede and get these far-left judges out of the picture. It's going to take a little bit more time, but I think that is the plan going forward. Trump's DOJ, they're going to put this in front of a federal grand jury to cut these far-left judges out of the picture. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and like she says, till the ends of the earth, they will be pursuing this till the ends of the earth. Okay, all right. You can tell, though, listen, we have a big problem in this country with far-left activist judges. We heard Chuck Schumer about 18 months ago, he said that during the Biden era, the Democrats, they appointed 235 judges across the country that would do everything they could to undermine President Trump. At that point, they were kind of scared. Trump is coming back. Trump might win this election. This is before Election Day. Trump might win. What are we going to do? Well, we got to hedge our bets. In case he does win, the 2024 election. The Democrats, they appointed 235 radically progressive judges across the country. And, they shopped around, they vetted these guys. The question they asked was, if Trump wins the election, will you do everything you can to undermine everything he does? Yes. Okay. Is that so? You're appointed. You're in. Let's go. You're in. That is how they pick these judges. Chuck Schumer is on tape. He's on video admitting to that. Like explicitly. You guys have seen the footage. So we got a big problem. It's a big problem here. And we can't do anything about it till leader of the Senate Judiciary, Chuck Grassley, Republican, agrees to toss out this did I say pink slip? Blue slip. This blue slip process. Good Lord. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to do now is take a look at these super chats, folks. I will tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. First off, do me a favor and make sure to like and make sure to subscribe to the show. Thank you all for being here on a Friday night. As far as I understand it, it's about to get real cold in about half the U.S., maybe more than half. I am out of the blast zone. I'm up here in Idaho. Not a problem for me. But listen, if you guys, first off, I want to say, if you guys are living down there in the Arctic, in the soon-to-be Arctic, seriously, take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. Make sure to put gas in your car. Keep some food, candles, flashlight, whatever in your house, ready to go. Charge up all your batteries. Take care of yourself. We saw a couple years ago. Remember when Texas got hit by that crazy ice storm and people had no power for days down there in Austin. I had friends and family down in Austin. It was bad. So take care of yourselves. Be prepared for that if you are in the blast zone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've got my super chats up here. Oh, yes, I do. But first, I want to take a look at this Rumble rant. We've got a Rumble rant here on Rumble from Cheeseburger Pie. Thank you, sir. He says, I love your argument, but if we make our points too well, then we sound like paid occupation. Try to question yourself sometimes. It makes it more believable. I don't know what that is in reference to, but it's in premise, always try to be self-critical. Always, try to be improving your own ideas. That's true. True. I can agree with that. No doubt. Thank you. I appreciate that. And we have a hell of a lot of super chats over here on YouTube. Good Lord, folks. Listen, I'm going to put the hat on. We're doing the hat. I went to the doctor today. Between last broadcast and this broadcast, I went to the doctor. I got some blood drawn. I went and got a big physical. This lady, she took 4 big vials of blood. I said, listen, hey, I've only got so much blood in there, huh? Good Lord, she took 4 big vials. I went and got a health checkup. I don't even know what they're doing with it, but good Lord, I was a little bit lightheaded earlier today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, okay, we have a super chat here from Polly Puree. She says, hi, everybody. Hi there, Polly Puree. We have a super chat from Jay Miller. Sir, thank you for tuning into the show. Thank you for tuning into the show here. We've got a super chat here from The Gaming Murph. From The Gaming Murph, he says, hey, Matt, when you get a chance, could you take a look at David Medina? He's running as a Republican for governor of Oregon. Very excited about his campaign. I haven't heard about him. I know that Drazen has filed to have another campaign. I know she is running again. So I suppose there will be a Republican primary. It's this guy, David Medina, you say, versus Drazen. I think a lot of Republicans in Oregon are not so excited about Drazen. Of course, she lost a couple years ago. So I don't know, maybe they do need to have somebody else. Drazen is like, she's not exactly catalyzing. Thank you very much. I'll look into him. Thank you very much. We have a super chat here from Curtis. Curtis, thank you. Welcome back to the show. He says, California investigated itself and found no wrongdoing. Everybody, Gavin Newsom here. You know how Gavin Newsom talks? Everybody, Gavin Newsom here. He puts his pinkies out. He does this. Everybody, Gavin Newsom here. We actually have conducted an internal audit of California State, and we have found no wrongdoing at all. California Governor Gavin Newsom, we found no wrongdoing. That guy's on something. That guy is taking something. That guy is tweaking out. Can somebody tell me what in the hell is wrong with Gavin Newsom? What is wrong with this guy? Everybody thought he was on drugs at Davos. He flew over there to Davos in Switzerland a couple days ago, and everybody thought that he was on drugs. He was like, Where am I? I don't know. Something is wrong about that guy, man. I don't know what the hell's going on with him. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Curtis. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have a big super chat here from Greg Adamite. He says, Matt, this pisses me off to no end. I'm disabled from back problem, and these POS give the illegals better health care than a U.S. citizen. That has to be paid taxes for 45 years. Yeah, listen, I think actually so first off, they want you, they want me, they want us to be replaced in our own country. They want the lives of illegal alien invaders to be easier than our lives. And also, they want you and I and all of us to pay for it. And then, what's the most evil part about it? They want you to know about it. They want you to feel helpless. They want you to know that your money is being stolen and then given to illegal aliens. They want you to know that and understand that, and they want you to feel helpless. It's a whole demoralization campaign. They want us to feel helpless, knowing that we are getting robbed and replaced, that we are paying for our own replacements, paying to be displaced in our own country. That is their entire angle. It's evil. It is evil. And thank God, finally now we're doing something about it. Thank you. You must not let them demoralize you. You need to remain moralized. We are remoralizing everybody. Remoralize here. Thank you. Piccolo 800 says Trump has that maple fever buddy. Oh, the premier of Alberta. Yeah, Danielle. What's her name? Danielle Smith. Yeah. Johnny McCammon, he says, Ilhan Omar's birth year comes back with consequences. Global news. You need to see this, Matt. Yeah, she needs to be deported immediately. Deport her immediately. Thank you very much. I'm a watch and says, SAVE doesn't stop fraudulent birth certificates. Well, we need a couple things to happen. First off, we need the SAVE Act. Second off, we need the Supreme Court to toss out birthright citizenship. Get rid of it. We have a lot of problems, man. We have a lot of problems. And there's not one solution to all of them. It's 100 different problems with 100 different solutions. And every single problem, it's an uphill battle, and it's difficult, and it costs a lot of money, and it takes a lot of time, and the odds are stacked against us. But hey, when has that ever stopped us? When has that ever stopped people like us? We are unstoppable. Doesn't matter. Odds are stacked against us. Hell, when are they not? We're climbing uphill both ways in the snow in a hailstorm. When are we not? When have we not been? That is just, hey, this is another day in paradise. Status quo. Another day getting screwed over. Another day that wake up, the odds are stacked against us. Welcome to life. That's the way it has always been. That's not going to stop us. That's not going to stop us. Thank you very much. We have super chat here from Johnny McCammon. He says, get a monster, you look tired. Dude, I'm beat. Dude, I am fried. You are. Do I look tired? I am fried. I am 100% beat. I don't know. After tonight's broadcast, I'm going to go lay down and read a book or something. I don't know what I'm going to do. I am fried. Thank you. Do I look like a guy that's fried? I am a guy that's fried. Thank you. We have a super chat here from Ministry of Wrongthink. He says, so what is the plan for the rhinos? It's not a coincidence. 70 plus Republicans voted with Dems recently after Trump called them out. It was a direct act of defiance. They've gone full mask off. They need to be primaried. The only thing that can be done about rhinos is to primary them. That's all. And you know what? We've got midterms coming up. Not all of them are up for re-election. For instance, everybody's talking about Chuck Grassley right now, Senator, because he's in charge of this blue slip process. He's not up for re-election until 2028. Can't do anything about that. So I think it's important. And you've already seen President Trump. He's been dropping primary threats on Truth Social every day now. Hey, Republican Rhino, you're not doing what we want. You are getting replaced. You're getting replaced. You are getting replaced. That's all we can do. That's really all we can do. And we do need to do it. We need to buckle down and do it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Darth Metalhead, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, right. Yeah. Paul Tobin, he says, the media needs to be shut down. They are the criminals. They spin everything. Makes me sick. You know, luckily here, every single day that goes on, fewer and fewer and fewer people are tuning into the mainstream media. CNN, ABC, all of them, they are losing their sway. They are losing their punch just because nobody's really watching them anymore. So luckily, people have had enough. Nobody's tuning in. Thank you very much. We have Piccolo. He says, your manifestations are no match for the dark side. We'll see about that. Concrete Lizard, he says, get them out of here. Teach ours to do their jobs. Yep. True. Get them out of here. I don't know. Listen, there's this whole narrative that like Americans don't want to do these jobs. Since when? Americans have always done these jobs. I mean, just rewind. So I'm 32. My parents are now in their late 50s, early 60s. Both of my parents worked on farms when they were teenagers. This was like a high school job. It was harvest season. It's harvest season. You go work on a farm. You make a couple bucks an hour. It's in the 80s. This was in the 1980s. They work on the farm. It's a part-time job. This was like an American thing. I don't know. Everybody in my family did that. Hell, when I was 18, 19, I worked on a farm, although it was in Japan. I worked on Japanese farms. Anyway, I worked on farms for about a year when I was 18, for a solid year. Anyway, I don't know. I'm sure you older members in the audience, you probably had the same experience. This is stuff Americans did. We've got a super chat here from Craig Morris. Craig Morris, he says, ICE is so horrible that they cared for a child that was abandoned by his father and mother. I know that evil Nazi ICE agent should have let that kid freeze on the side of the road. Sorry, 5-year-old boy. I know your illegal alien parents ditched you, but now you're going to freeze to death. So good luck. Good luck. Yeah, no. I just realized I'm sipping out of a cup that says grandma. That's me. That's me. That's me. That's me. Hey, everybody. Hey, it's grandma here. This is from Cracker Barrel. This is one of the Cracker Barrel cups. It's me. I'm grandma today. No, true. No, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Morris. Yeah. This is obviously these people are stupid, but they don't care about this. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about the actual logistics of what happened. It is all about the narrative, pushing the narrative, even in spite of truth or evidence or objectivity. They don't care. They don't care. They just do not care. They are more than happy to lie. More than happy to lie. In fact, it's what they do. They get these people, they get paid a lot of money. They get paid millions of dollars every single year to lie. That's all they do. And they make good money doing it. It's insane. It's an insult. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. We have a couple new memberships. From Anthony, thank you, sir. He's a supporter. DTB is a supporter. Thank you. I think he's a 2-time supporter. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Folks, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been one hell of a day, man. I am going to wrap it up. I'm going to wrap it up and take a chill pill this Friday night. This storm is seriously, listen, hey, I care about you guys. This storm is coming in. I'm not sure exactly when, tomorrow or the next day, but take care of yourselves. Seriously, I'm going to keep on doing my show, so I'll be checking in on you guys, but storm's coming. I can feel it in my bones. I feel it in my bones. There's a storm a-coming, and you guys got to be careful. Thank you all very much for tuning in. I appreciate it, folks. Thank you very much. God bless. Stay safe. Thank you. Make sure to follow, subscribe. You know how it is. You know how it is. And I'll see you folks tomorrow. We're doing our live shows. We're doing it all. But this grandma needs a break. This grandma is going to go take a rest. Okay. So I'll see you folks tomorrow. Take care. Thank you all very much. Have a great night.